All right, I'm going to read this because I really want the audience to hear kind of the script I have. I kind of want to make sure that they, try to paint a picture to people who don't know you or maybe some family members that you have. So today we're here at NIL Podcast, Name, Image, Likeness, which people are known for no matter what industry you're in. So we're here to dive into the stories, struggles, and successes of people shaping our world. Today, I'm beyond thrilled to introduce a true trailblazer, a man whose life is a master class in grit, vision, and heart, and also my dad. So Gary's not just a titan in the healthcare industry. He's a guy who's lived 1,000 lives in one to getting his license in 1993, right?
That's right.
And believing in people, and people believing in Gary, like Malisa Blake, my mom, and Diane Ward, and many others. There's no sweet spot for growth, and you never have to apologize for high quality, is what my dad says. From starting Creative Solutions in 2000 with my mom, with one building in Granbury, Texas, to leading a company that's now the forefront of AI, software, and technology in healthcare. Gary's journey is about pushing limits and building relationships that last. But let's get real. This guy's stories are as wild as they are inspiring. Picture a young Gary covering an entire Hardee's restaurant in biscuit dough, forgetting to clock in because he had already gotten there an hour early, or maybe driving back with Amy when he just got his license when he was 16. He's got a taste for whitewater rafting, or maybe a car named Maybell. Maybe a car named Maybell with all the bells and whistles. Or even a great-great-grandfather from Italy who built a restaurant out of stones and stained glass in the 1890s in Abilene, Texas. Or Granddad Bob setting up a company in South Africa, and the type of deal that took place, and maybe the civil unrest that was unfolding at the time. Gary's not just about business. He's about family, food, and roots. Alabama legendary Sunday lunches to Granny Dodo's pioneering pizzas. He's a foodie who made me try everything on the menu. He's a dad, he's a leader, and he's a guy who's never afraid to take a risk. Whether it's starting a business with no plan B or building bridges with governors and senators to shape an industry. Today, we have my dad, Gary Blake.
Thank you, Grayson.
Absolutely. Well, this is an absolute treat for me. But we like to start it out pretty easy here with the questions. But so where are you from, and where does kind of Gary begin?
Well, I was born in Texas and then spent 14 years in Alabama, and then came back right after high school, and then did college here and started my career, met your mom.
Absolutely. So Alabama, growing up there, can you tell me what that's like? I know that you would go to Brownwood in the summers and then come back to Alabama for school and everything like that. What's school like, growing up in, was it Bon Air or Chillersburg, Alabama? Kind of paint the picture for us.
Well, so Bon Air was so small that it did not have a school system. So we went to the next town, which was just a few miles away, to Chillersburg. And, you don't know what you don't know. We didn't know we were poor. We didn't know we didn't have a lot of class. We just didn't know.
Sure.
So, and then I would come to Texas in the summer, and then my Texas family was just as loving to me as my Alabama family. So I've never, even though my parents were divorced, I never felt unloved by my step-parents. I always felt loved by my birth parents. Wonderful. So I've been surrounded by people that love me my entire life.
Absolutely. And when you're growing up like that and you're having these Sunday lunches with what I'd call Nana and Gussie, right?
Yep.
Can you tell me anything about Italian vegetables with Granny Dodo?
I sure can tell you.
What is that?
So, it's the best foods are the simple foods, right?
Yes.
And it was these thin sliced potatoes, slices of onion, bell pepper, and there was only one jalapeno put in there with a tomato, and they would do it on a flat grill and sprinkle it with Italian seasonings. I literally can taste it right now.
Yeah.
And I've tried to knock it off.
Yeah.
But, if you don't have a flat grill that's, 50 years old, In a 24-hour restaurant, you're probably not going to get the same results. But those are where my roots are. And I truly would not, people say, oh, I'd change this or I'd change that. I really don't think I would. I really don't.
Well, you definitely wouldn't change, the food that you brought up in. We'll shift gears a lot. We'll
Okay.
go back and forth in the timeline because I think food is kind of like a really strong point in creative solutions. It
is.
In healthcare. Is that kind of where that began for you? Is that why that kind of struck a chord for you, just growing up, just being a foodie?
Well, I believe so, because our family, my mother's family being Italians, everything centered around food and family and gatherings. And you didn't always have to get along, but you always did when you sat down at a table. And the food it was maybe not super fancy, but it was really great food. And I just remember that feeling that I would get by being around family that I loved, that loved me, and how great the food was. I may not be able to remember everything about the food.
Sure.
I think I probably do. But the food gives you such a great feeling. And I just knew when we started Creative Solutions, Diane Ward and I, when we started it with your mom and Diane's husband, Michael, I knew that we could do it differently, we could do it better, and we were more agile. And so food was a big complaint in our industry, and it still is to this day. It is not a complaint within our company because from the top to the bottom, or for the top of our corporate office down to our facility level, food is important, and we want to make it great for them.
Now, yeah, I've been able to go to all the facilities, and if it's lunchtime, like I'm getting something, and we got different menus for different parts of Texas.
That's right.
Texas is kind of big,
Yep.
so lots of land, lots of driving. I kind of want to go back to you getting your license,
Okay.
getting your first car.
All right.
What was that first car?
My first car was a 1976 four-door Nova.
Four-door Nova. Okay.
Yeah, Chevy Nova.
Okay. And did anybody help you get that car? What did that look like to you? Or did you get it yourself? Or
I bought it from my dad. My stepmother had gotten upgraded to a 1978 Fairmont station wagon that she was excited about.
lots of room in there.
Lots of room. And so I, for $200, yes, but I made $1.25 an hour, so that represented a lot of hours. But gave my dad $200, and he turned over a set of keys to 76 Nova.
A 76. So is that the car you would drive to and from Alabama and Texas, or did you fly?
I drove it back to Alabama. Amy flew out. My Aunt Amy flew out, and we drove it back.
Okay. She remembers. So I was actually talking with her. I was able to kind of get some really good golden nuggets of you spending time with Amy and Gussie and everything like that. I'm gonna make sure I get this right. There's a schoolhouse in Papa's front yard, and that's
Yes.
Noah.
Yeah, Noah Foster.
Noah Foster. So what's that? And there's definitely a story there. I just don't know enough.
So there was an old kindergarten that was a former school in Bonaire.
Did your siblings ever go
My
there?
brother Jason went there
Okay,
at kindergarten.
gotcha.
And so I grew up my whole life looking out our kitchen window at that old broken down school.
That long road,
Yes.
leading up into the driveway, and the church that was right nearby. What was it? I'm trying to pull the notes. Father Andrew. Does that make
No, Father Abraham.
Father Abraham?
Yeah, that was my mother's priest and then my childhood priest.
Yes, the Catholic.
Yes, we were raised Catholic.
Yeah. So, how many siblings did you have?
So I have So when my parents, it's so funny. My mother, God rest her soul, she didn't like it when I said this, but she really liked being married so much so that she did it 3 times. So she had a child with each of her husbands, and wonderful, and I love her. I just have to. She always hated when I said that.
Yeah.
But so I have my brother Don, and then I had my brother Jason and a half brother or stepbrother named Mike. And Jason and Mike are deceased.
Mm-hmm.
And then on my when my dad remarried, he had 3 wonderful children that are also my siblings, Christine, Elizabeth, and James.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when you're going, back and forth, and then finally making your decision to come just stay full time in Texas, obviously you love both sides of your family, but growing up, I felt like you really yearned for the love of Grandmother Blake. Everybody loved Grandmother Blake, right? Everybody.
Oh, sure.
People watching this podcast have no idea who Grandmother Blake is, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give you this chance to say, this is the type of person Grandmother Blake was.
So my grandmother Blake was obviously my dad's mom, and she grew up in a town called Chatfield, and we actually have a facility called the Chatfield that we just named it after the town she was born in.
Yeah.
So the type of person she was, she just, you hear people say, oh, no judgment. But a lot of the times when they say no judgment, they've already judged you.
Yeah, you're probably like...
She's one of those people that was always just kind, very to the point, but extremely kind. And there's a lot of life lessons in people that can be honest, can be transparent, and can be kind all at the same time.
Definitely. Amy, and Gussie would say that you learned a lot from Grandmother and kind of took a lot from her playbook and kind of how you live your life.
Yes.
I want to, like I said, jumping around here.
Sure.
Do you know who Papa Charlie Blanks is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so do you know the story of his original last name and having to change it?
Yes, I do.
Because somebody couldn't pronounce it or something like that, and he had horrible broken English.
That's right.
Is what I've heard. And he came here in the 1890s.
Yep. Ellis Island. Came over at Ellis Island.
And we went to New York one time.
Yep. Saw his signature.
Saw the signature.
Yep. So his name, I can't even remember what it was, but it was so long and so a lot of C's and I's and all kind of alphabet.
Gussie said Blanco or something like that.
It was even longer than that.
Oh, okay.
So he just left it at blank. So that's where he got his name, was Charlie Blank.
Wow.
And then opened his nightclub and Count Basie and I actually have the book at my house that was written about the nightclub.
Yes. They said that there was a whole book written on it, and it was made of stone and stained glass.
Yeah.
And
his version of the Vatican, I think.
He maybe missed home a little bit.
Yeah, I think he probably did.
Yeah. And he built it himself.
Yeah, the whole thing.
And they said that they went back in there recently. It's still standing, or something that...
It could very well... I knew there was one of the stone walls was still standing.
Yeah, and there's still some stained glass where they could see it.
Isn't that something?
Wow, 1890, building something by hand. I wonder what the building codes were on that.
Whatever you could build.
Hey, hope it stays. I wanted to talk about your dad, Bill Blake.
Yep.
My granddad. Do you know about him and Steve Blake finding... because in Brownwood, Texas, it was a camp, right? It was a military camp or a base.
Yeah, Camp Bowie.
Camp Bowie. There you go. They found a bomb, or they found and it blew up. Do you?
So it was a hand grenade.
Hand grenade.
That's where my dad had these small little pellets in his skin from where the hand grenade blew up. And I was a little baby. I was not even a year old.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they had found it,
Uh-huh.
and then it went off.
And it went off.
Wow. Yeah, it's and I never had heard that story before, and
He was sensitive about, your granddad was, my dad was very sensitive and did not like talking about it. So, because it did disfigure him for a while, and then over time, the residue faded.
Sure.
So by the time you were born,
right.
there was very little evidence from that explosion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just kind of remarkable. And Steve, Amy said, did Steve have a motorcycle?
He did have a motorcycle. Loved motorcycles.
Loved motorcycles. And scared the heck out of all the girls,
I'm
apparently.
Sure. Yeah.
They would take him riding. Both of them would say, I'll never get on you with Dave again. So, let's. Do you remember the pizzas that Granny Dodo would make?
I do.
Okay.
She made more back when my mom and the sisters were younger, when they owned the Italian restaurant called Allegro's.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I don't remember. The pizza equipment was already gone by the time I came along. Now she would make homemade pizzas.
Sure.
When we would all be at the restaurant, and when she was feeling very nostalgic.
Sure.
And all that.
Yeah. What's some things where you eat something or you see something, maybe you hear something, maybe when you get into a quiet room and it gets still, you're like, I feel, a memory that comes to you maybe immediately, or
it's really it's interesting because in Brownwood, Texas, there was an old produce stand on Highway 377 owned by Dean Slager.
Okay.
That's
where this.
So after Dean passed away, his son opened another Slager's Produce, and I get the same feeling when I walk in Slager's, the new Slager's now in Brownwood, as I did when his dad had it, because it would be fresh vegetables, peanuts and pecans, and so all that kind of resonates with me so much that our facilities in and around Brownwood have accounts with Slager's, and that's where their fresh produce comes from.
Wow. It seems like you tend to lean toward your Texas roots the company was founded in Texas, and you seem to partner with a lot of other Texas families. Why is that important?
Well, and Grayson, that is a great question. It's a great venue for me to share that. So we're a private family business, and we support other private family businesses. Our food provider is Benny Keith Foods, and it's still owned by a private family. It's non-Wall Street held. Nothing against Wall Street held companies, but I choose to support a Texas family's business. Same goes for our chemicals. Kirby Chemical out of Longview, Texas. That family is a private family, and we want to use those families. And it's not always a price point issue,
right,
as it is you support the people that brought you up and who extended you lines of credit when you had no business being given a line of credit.
Sure. And
these companies we've used for years. Our telecom business, we've used them. They were the first vendor we ever used, and they still service. They don't service one facility anymore. They service 160.
Wow. So it really goes back to the roots for you, something that it feels comfortable, feels natural, something that has nothing to do with Texas, but was started in Texas, or not nothing to do with Texas, but shifted to a whole other continent of the world, West Texas Printing, and Granddad Bob.
That's right.
And just countless stories where we could be here for hours and hours and hours, but what is West Texas Printing? And you kind of were there to maybe even learn about the business, learn that maybe I like doing this, don't like doing that. What did that look like growing up?
So it was our family business. My grandparents bought West Texas Printing I believe they bought it in 1946, and then built it where it's permanently at now. They moved it somewhere in the late 60s.
Okay.
68, 69. But it was a printing business, and my brother James now owns it and runs it, and it's still located in Brownwood, Texas. So it's been in the family business. Steve had it, was the president for probably 40 years. My grandfather had it. And I worked for about 2.5 years there. And then I went on to college, and then after college, moved to Fort Worth, and
Sure.
that's just kind of the natural progression. But yeah, it's still a thriving business in Brownwood, Texas. Proud legacy. They actually do all of our printing for Creative Solutions and Healthcare, all of our business cards, all of our marketing collaterals,
Calendars.
It's important. It's important that we do that.
No, it definitely. When did Creative start to collaborate with West Texas?
Oh gosh, years ago, 15 years ago, probably. Well, no, they've done our business cards since day one, so 25 years ago.
Yeah, I remember getting my first business cards from James. It was semi-translucent paper with a blue chrome for the name. Yeah, you do remember stuff like that, like your first business cards. Talk about first time. Was it your first time ever being in South Africa when you went with Granddad Bob?
Yes.
And how long were you there?
Almost 6 months. I had worked, it was, I believe, Christmas or New Year's Eve of 87. No, I'm sorry, 85. And my Uncle Steve had said, we're building out a new plant in South Africa, and he had sent over some presses and said, hey, would you go and learn this one skill, go teach it there, and then when you're finished, come back. And I said, well, sure, I will. So,
and where was this in South Africa?
It was
something that starts with a G, right?
It was an hour north of Durban on the N1 in an industrial park called Isatibi.
Okay.
And we lived on the beach at Zinkwazi Beach.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was about a 35, 40-minute drive to work because it all depends on, how much livestock was in the road and those kind of fun things.
Yeah. So was it was the 80s when you went to South Africa?
All during apartheid.
Yeah. So a little bit of, I call it civil unrest in the city. And you're on a phone call with a friend, and you were laying on the ground, and you said, well, I can't watch TV, but I can call you. What's going on here? How? Kind of explain what was kind of going on at that point. There was gunshots or something like that?
I wasn't on call. I took a picture.
Oh.
So I was on the hotel balcony in Johannesburg, and I saw two people having an argument. So I just took out my camera, and I took a picture, and then one of them shot the other one. And so I took some pictures of it, and I thought, oh my gosh, if they saw my flash.
Yeah.
So I was just paranoid, and I was young. I was.
How old were you?
I was 18. I would have been 19 in March. So yeah, I was 18. So I remember I went downstairs and asked the hotel manager where I could get the film processed because I had to get the camera. I don't know. I don't know what my brain, an 18-year-old brain certainly operates different than a 59-year-old brain does now, but it was just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually on the phone with Nana.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on the phone with her on the balcony, and with the time change and everything, it was crazy time.
Yeah. Speaking of Nana, when you told her, "Hey, I'm going to go to South Africa," what was the kind of the response, or was she kind of like, "Go do your own thing"?
She never tried to deter me because she raised me. She didn't raise, anybody that would be deterred by just somebody saying you can't do it or don't go or
Sure.
something. She was excited for me. She was concerned just due to the political environment there. Um, but no, she was excited for me, and off I went.
I want to talk about some summer jobs that you started. What was one of your first jobs?
Let's see. One of the things I did was I picked up pecans and sold pecans
Brownwood
in Texas. I mean, in Alabama.
in Alabama.
Yeah, big pecan tree in the front yard.
Are you talking about the big one in front of, like, where you basically park your car under
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Okay.
And then, oh gosh, I worked at Hardee's. That's the first where I got a paper check. See, that was different. Getting paid by your parents was different.
Yeah.
So, worked at Hardee's and had a wonderful experience there. And some of the things I learned at a fast food restaurant, I still insist on to this day.
Like
A very clean environment. I think that is important. I think a clean kitchen is a healthy kitchen. You can't serve healthy food out of a dirty kitchen.
Yep.
And customer service at its primitive form. People walk up to the counter, they expect service, they expect it quick, and they expect it accurate.
Yep.
And so I was able to learn a lot from that.
No, absolutely. There's the story of so I'm trying to paint a picture
Sure.
here. So Hardee's
Yes.
used to be known for their charcoal
Burgers.
grilled burgers.
Yep.
Right, and then they switched it to maybe flat or stovetop.
That's right.
And people were maybe not happy about that.
That's right.
And so they started up a breakfast.
Yes.
And that's kind of where they started having the infamous Hardee's breakfast. And you were in charge. You probably know where I'm going with this. I touched on it. You were in charge of, maybe you moved up and got moved to biscuit making.
Yeah, I got 10 cents more an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there was a time where you maybe were going through a little learning curve of biscuit making.
Oh, yeah.
Biscuits were everywhere.
They were, and I was messy with it. You only have to do that a couple of times, and then the cleanup. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were supposed to clog out, but biscuits were still everywhere, and your mom was calling you, and like, you don't know my mama. I'm going home. Like, I can do this tomorrow or something. It's like, you're not leaving here until it's done.
That's right.
And he's like, you don't know my mama. Like, I might as well quit.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Like, she'll have me. I have to be home. Was she pretty strict on?
She was
pretty strict on curfews and
yes,
maybe table manners and things of that nature.
All of that.
Was everybody held to a pretty strict standard, or how was it structured?
Well, there was an expectation, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't come to the table sweaty and stinky, and from
With your shirt off.
Well, you're not going to eat at her table with your shirt off. That's just
Not happening.
That ain't going to happen. And just hands washed, body clean, hair brushed. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about going to school in Alabama. A lot of people would say, like, a lot of these conversations were very healing for me because I was very much a ball of energy, and so were you. And would just get in just funny, quirky things. And if something was hilarious, well, I'll do it 10 times for you. Like, I just you just loved making people laugh. So, let's talk about, I want to make sure I'm following this right. Cause, hold on. you would, so in school, you would, I'm trying to think. In school, you always, you went to school with Uncle Don,
Yes.
Jason.
I never went to school with Jason. We were in school at the same time, but I was always at a different school.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And what was your relationship like with Uncle Don? You know, y'all were just...
He was very tolerant of me. He was the athletic jock, and I certainly wasn't anything like that. He and I've always had such a healthy relationship
Right.
with each other. He was my biggest defender. He would also tell you if you were getting out of line. He would say you're out of line. So he's always had my back, and I've certainly always had his.
No, definitely. And he's been over. We've been over there countless times to his house, right next to Noah's or Papa's house.
Yes.
I want to talk about your school teachers. That's where I was going with this thing.
Okay.
Can you tell me about Miss Della Ward?
Now,
Can you not? It's okay if you don't want to.
so she was, there's a gazillion stories, right?
And everybody has a teacher that...
She drank way too much coffee and got way too close in.
Yeah.
You could just smell that coffee breath. Yeah.
Yes. And then you were in, it was called business math and accounting.
Yes.
With Miss Peggy McGraw.
That's correct, Grayson.
So what's something that sticks out for you with Miss Peggy McGraw?
So you would get 1 point every day for your pencil, pen, ruler check.
Got it.
And it was really a pencil, pen, ruler check.
yeah. It's deep, in
Deep
Alabama.
South, yes. And I do believe she is still alive. But funny and make you laugh. And if, because we were young teenagers, if someone did not wear deodorant, she would tell them they needed to sprinkle.
What is that? I'll go take a shower.
Yeah, but there was a kind of like a powder called something, Sprinkle a Day will keep the odor away or something like that. Yeah, it was a powdered deodorant.
Oh, nice.
When some deodorants were powdered.
It wasn't on a stick yet.
No, it was a powdered type thing.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Okay.
messy. In the South with all that humidity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't last long. But good teachers, though. So, Grayson, I'll tell you. So, I just had my 40th class reunion last summer.
Okay.
And our high school principal was there. Our high school coaches were there. And our high school principal lives across the street from Amy.
What?
Yes, like right across the street. And then Brenda Williamson was there. She was our English teacher, as well as a wonderful, just a delightful lady. Nancy Dobbs was there.
Nancy Dobbs.
Just great teachers. So much so that they got invited to our 40th class reunion, Grayson.
That's and where did that take place?
It took place in Childersburg.
Childersburg. So, there was they were talking about Miss Dan Ingram.
Dean Ingram. I never had her.
Okay.
Never had her.
Yeah.
Peculiar. I just remember she was very peculiar.
Yes. Okay. And jumping around here, what was where you would get, did you walk to school or did you take a bus to school?
Took a bus.
Okay. Was there any times where you were late or but it seems like you're pretty on time. You seems like you always wanted to be there early. Amy, talk to me about you pulling up to your friend's house and him telling you, it's like an hour before we even open. Why are you here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've always seemed to be
Well,
on time.
we were just raised. You're just a product of that environment you're raised in, right? Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, you're still a product of it. And my stepdad was always prompt. My mom was extremely prompt. And my family in Texas was always prompt. We just, as a family, we just did not run late.
And I think that just translates today how much being so punctual
Yes.
and being true to your word and integrity. So, who's one person, mentor, boss, or even rival that changed the way you approached your career? Or describe a moment that stuck with you that kind of was like, okay, here's the pivot.
So I remember once I was doing my administrator in training, I remembered my area manager. Her name was Pat Dunkel. And I thought she was the smartest person I'd ever met in healthcare.
Mm.
And I just told her, I said, teach me everything. Teach me everything. And then she did. And she was such the type of person that she didn't create like a silo of knowledge. She wanted to share everything. If she knew a better way how to collect money, she shared it. If she knew a better way to have beds made or to sweep and mop floors or to present food. But Pat Dunkel was instrumental.
Catalyst almost.
She was. And she's retired up in Arkansas now.
Okay.
And right before COVID, I saw online where she was visiting her daughter in Arlington. And I reached out to her and we had a wonderful dinner here in Fort Worth and just reminisced. I think it is so important to follow up with people like that changed your life, changed your career, motivated you differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to take her to dinner and thank her
Mm.
for being so open and teaching me everything, stuff I use to this very day.
Absolutely. When I was, calling around, just hey, got any crazy stories? A lot of people would say, man, Gary has given to the point where we don't even know what he's done or who he's done it to. He just does it out of his heart. Do you think that? And I think Mom Malisa is very much the same way.
Like that.
I think y'all may be drawn to that when y'all were young. But what's one thing maybe somebody has given you? What's her name again? The lady you were talking about.
Pat Dunkel.
Pat Dunkel. Like, who has been, another Pat, or maybe somebody who's kind of like shaked it up for you?
I would go so far as like industry people. Sure. I would probably say Diane Ward from the standpoint of do not be afraid. It is not a good color on you. It doesn't look good. Don't be afraid. If you don't know something, say, I don't know, but then learn from it. So I don't know if Diane Ward subscribes to your podcast, but she was very instrumental and just she and I are still friends to this day, and we meet up occasionally, most recently down in Puerto Vallarta, and just caught up like we had,
Yeah, just like old times.
Just old times.
When Mom always seems to say that, or even you say, we didn't really have a plan B, Grayson. Usually when you go into a business, you got to have A, B, C. And for us, we didn't have that.
No,
can you paint a picture for? Sure,
I can. Your mom and I used to, in Brownwood, there was a restaurant called the Skillet or something like that, the Kettle restaurant. And we couldn't afford to eat there. And it was a coffee shop. It's kind of like
You're painting a picture.
Yeah. But we could go and drink coffee there.
How much was coffee?
28 cents, 35 cents, something like that. It wasn't very expensive.
Right.
So we would go and we would just talk about our hopes and our dreams. We would talk about the highlights that we expected our life to be. We talked about the children that we didn't have yet. We talked about the business that we didn't have yet. We talked about the home that we didn't have yet. We talked about things
Like they were going to really happen.
and they have happened.
Right.
So, your mom was my person. While we're not married anymore, she's still such a great person. And I call her all the time and bounce stuff off of her. She and I still, run the business together. So
Is it still 50-50?
Oh, yeah.
So this is very much a family.
It is a family business.
Right.
It is. A lot of people don't understand it. But it's not for them to understand. It is for them to just kind of sit back and watch it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like what you told me many times. You got to know your lane.
Yes.
Yes.
But as far as no plan B, I think that's where.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of where we.
Yes, you're right.
It was not an option. Failure is not an option. Not to succeed is not an option. Not to raise the best children that you can, that's not an option. You make mistakes along the way, but I'm grateful for every mistake that I made because I have a great history of not making the same mistake twice. And so there are opportunities to really learn. And I know that's a little cliche.
Sure.
But if the mistake is substantial enough, you will learn a lot from it.
What's a dream that you had when you were younger, maybe a career, maybe an adventure, that you can still picture yourself chasing?
Like a non-career, so I think I'm fascinated by those around the world cruises.
Okay.
I'm just fascinated that you could live on a boat long enough and not, choke somebody.
Yeah. Confined space.
Or in some of them, are like 120 days. That's just fascinating to me. I think to live in your favorite countries for a month when you're retired, France and Italy or Spain are great countries, Greece. And your mom and I, we drug you and Emily all over the world with us.
Yes.
Probably because we couldn't afford a good babysitter. Nobody had babysit you both. But we wanted to expose you guys to that. So in my retirement or semi-retirement one day, I think to go and spend a month in a great country.
Yeah.
It's something to do.
No, and stay there.
And I can see myself doing that.
There was excuse me. There was I just had it. I'm sorry to mess it up like that. I want to make sure I'm getting it. Whenever you're traveling around, did growing up and not necessarily being the wealthiest in town and travel wasn't luxury travel was like be glad you're even in this
coach. Yeah.
So how did you find a desire for travel while not like me, I could be like, well, my dad, right, we went to Italy, but growing up, you only heard stories and things of that nature. So what made you kind of yearn to do that?
Well, my grandparents, Bob and Mary Sue Blake, traveled the globe, and they didn't spend a lot of money doing it, but they always had the most amazing stories, and I would just sit and listen, and they talked about the good and the bad of travel, so you learned. But one of the lessons, and I remember we were at their house on Belmead, which was before the house on Asbury. So that just shows you how far back that goes. I I remember my grandmother looked at me. She said, well, my philosophy is this, and I'll share it with you, Gary. And I said, what's that? And she said, go as far as you can, as young as you can. And she said, because one day when you're older and slower, that's when you want to go to all the national parks. That's when you want to that's when you've already traveled the world. Then you bring it down. So I've just taken that advice and I've tried to instill it. Your mom and I have tried to instill that advice in you and Emily, to really go as far as you can, as young as you can. And I'll add and do it as fast as you can.
Yeah, efficiently as you can.
That's right.
Can you tell me about it? Kind of transitions well the college speech that you did when you said I'll see you. I don't know. I'll see you when I see you, but I'll be.
Oh.
Can what is that?
So I wrapped it up. I said I'll see you at the top. I said, I'll see you at the top or from the top, but I'll see you.
Wow. It's got to be powerful to say that as a young man who had no idea what that even meant to you. You just wanted to be somewhere where you weren't currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew there was a great life for me. And this is just a great state to live all your dreams out, your entrepreneurial dreams, or be the best employee you can be dreams. But I remember the look on people's face when I said that, and I'll see you at the top or from the top, but believe me, I will see you.
Wow.
And then I heard applause. And I don't even remember what happened after that.
Yeah, it kind of a blur. That's wow. Is that do you remember what course that was, or just not at all?
Grayson, I do not remember what course it was. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
It may have been some kind of communications class.
Oh, probably.
I knew it was you know what? I believe it was a speaking class because it was an extemporaneous speech because you had like 3 minutes to pull it together.
Oh, and then they're like, okay, go. And
with no AI or anything to assist you.
No AI. Kind of jumping around here.
Sure.
The car that you delivered newspapers in, you did deliver newspapers, right?
Yes,
and
I did.
What time of day would you do that?
See, I got up at 3:30, got the newspapers at like 4:15.
Yeah.
And then I could deliver newspapers for a couple of hours and then go home and get ready for work.
Yeah. And you customized your car during that.
Customizing is a very
Very nice.
It's kind of loose term, but I took the passenger seat out.
Right.
So I could stack all those newspapers so I wouldn't have to stop. I could save time. So when your mom would ride with me, she was just humiliated, and I get it. I don't blame her. She would have to sit in the back of a Chevy Chevette. And it was like driving Miss Daisy in a lime green Chevette. I mean, it was crazy. It was the craziest, greatest time.
Yeah.
And I don't regret any of it. That's the fun part.
Yeah. Saving time. Whenever you would do orders at Hardee's, there used to be like a little spindle with the point, and you would smash the order on your, and you wanted to put it in your pocket.
Yes.
Is that right?
That is exactly right.
Why did you do that? Thought you could save time, just moving fast.
Oh, I thought I could do that. And I remember, so Fred Bowen was my trainer there at Hardee's. And later he worked at Creative Solutions for several years, but my pockets were just bulging with all those receipts.
Like chipmunk cheeks.
Yes, like chipmunk cheeks. And he said, why do we keep doing that? And I said, you do that too?
Oh, shit.
And I was just like, oh, gosh, I knew right when it came out of my mouth, no, he doesn't do that. He was like, why are you,
Yeah, why are we doing that?
Yeah, he was trying to help me. Yeah.
Oh man. Is there let me see. There Can you describe a time when you maybe took a risk and maybe it paid off, maybe it didn't? In any way, maybe early in the company, maybe later on in the company, maybe even before creative was even a thought. Maybe even early as an administrator in 1993 when you're freshly licensed.
Yeah, you know what? I do. And I think it's one of the sticking points I have now. I remember I'm trying to think what it was at, it's now called Santa Fe Health and Rehab in Weatherford.
Okay.
It was called Leisure Lodge back in the day when I was there. And I remember I asked the administrator, I said, do you mind if I paint this wall? And he said, sure. And so I had this nurse pick a color, and it was
God awful.
it was awful. And when it went on the wall, it kind of came up kind of rosy pink, and it just wasn't nice. And I painted brick on the inside. And I was so proud of it. And I did a good job.
Sure.
But it was not approved. And man, did I get in trouble. Then they said, you have to paint it a neutral color and don't ever do that again. And I never did that again. And, I'm particular now about our colors that we paint our buildings inside and out and all that. So I think that's probably where that trauma comes from.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, I already did this once.
We're not doing it again.
Yeah, we're not going to do this again. And he's like, that's not even my standard. I mean, I got in trouble for this.
I most certainly did and needed to.
What's a moment in your life where you felt completely surprised by yourself? Like something, maybe, I know you dreamed big, but accomplishing it is another.
Well, I can tell you, it was in this office building, and we had gone through a round of acquisitions, rapid fire acquisitions, and it was, I don't know how many buildings we acquired during COVID, 50 something buildings or something.
Sure.
It was a feat because it was COVID.
Yeah.
And then to be acquiring buildings during that time.
Economic,
Yeah.
right.
And I remember Chris Imigale came around the corner and he said, well, you realize it now, don't you? And I was like, what do I realize? And he said, we're the largest nursing home provider in the state. And I said, no, I didn't know that. Well, kind of good for us. And okay. And then we got back to work. But that surprised me. I actually had to go sit down in my office because I just remember starting with one, and then we went to two, and then we acquired three, and then we were a total of five. And it has been such a blur since then.
Sure.
And just so many amazing people have helped build it and do it and continue to do it day in and day out. And but that resonated with me of it's not something that I did, it's something we did. But but Chris Imigale, our CFO, came and said, you do realize this now, right?
And he was CFO at the time when telling you this?
No, Chris was an intern. No, he was the CFO at that time. Sorry, he certainly was.
Yeah.
He started as an intern with us.
So he started off as an intern, and this is actually a great segue with Creative Solutions growing, hiring within, not trying to reinvent the wheel, bringing somebody else in. You have one of the youngest CFOs and COOs with a company this size, both extremely talented and proven in the industry. Is this something that happened organically, or is this something where how does a company this size put a really strong belief in such a young person? It seems like we do that time and time again, and it's won us some and it's lost us some.
Yeah, and that's a great question. So both Chris, our CFO, and Austin, our COO, both of them started their careers. Both were still in college. Well, Chris was still in college. Austin had graduated, looking for a job. And Austin started in HR at Silver Tree in San Antonio. And Chris Emigale started as a $15 an hour intern and worked himself up and is now one of the youngest CFOs in the country for a company of our size.
Does
as well as Austin.
Yeah. And there's so many other aspects of the business that can consume you. What's your favorite part about being president, CEO of Creative?
I like the fact that every family member and every employee has my personal cell phone number. And that's my choice.
Right.
And I've had people say, well, that's the craziest thing. You're setting yourself up for, yeah, I get a lot of crazy calls, but I also get far more rewarding and thank you calls from our staff and from our family members. But if you're going to spend and build your career with Creative, I want to reciprocate, and I want to know you the best that I can with 15,000 employees. And I want family members to know that they can go straight to the top and visit with the owner and president and CEO of the company without having to go through an heroic lift to do it.
Which is why I think you choose to pick with private Texas families as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, I call those presidents and CEOs on their cell phones.
Absolutely. Growing this company like this comes with maybe a lot of maybe a little bit more rain than sunshine. Sorry, a little bit more rain than sunshine. Maybe some years, maybe some weeks, maybe some consecutive days. What's the biggest sacrifice that you did? That you did to build your career?
Oh, Grayson, that's actually
that's a loaded question.
It's a loaded question, but it's very simple for me. I remember the day that I had to say I have to have quality time with my children and my wife rather than quantity of time. And I can remember not that I don't think it's something to apologize to you and Emily and Malisa for, because the trade-off was worth it.
Right.
It's not that we didn't do family vacations. It's the very reason why you and Emily got to choose one sport to play a year, because we knew if we could let you play your sport, we would attend all the games and that sort of thing, but that we could take family vacations. And that was important to your mom and I, and it still is, to occasionally travel with you two,
Sure,
separately or jointly. But that was it. It was a sacrifice.
absolutely. And I'm sure a lot of people who sacrifice family time even now for the company. And I've always seen that you're extremely grateful because you lived it. And people, when I would talk to them on the phone, whether it was coworkers, family, whatever the case may be, they would always say, he put us first, sometimes more than himself, more than what we deserved. And to hear people talk, not together in a group, but I called them and I didn't say, hey, talk to this person, but to hear the same story and the same ethics and the same morals time and time again about either, Gary's way of doing things or his sacrifice in time, just kind of proves why our product is so good. They would always say Gary was like scary smart and knew the building inside and out. He knew everything. He knew the billing. He knew from top to bottom, and he was kind of like just multiple people at once is what a lot of people said. He's like multiple people at once, and he's hard to keep up with. So
that's very gracious of them.
Yeah. Switching gears.
Yeah.
So Emily was born in 1996.
Yes.
What does that look like? Because this is 4 years before Creative starts.
Yes.
So
I didn't know what I didn't know.
Sure.
Your mom and I, anyway. And I remember, both when you were born and Emily were some very profound days. And I remember looking at Emily, and I said, well, there's the little girl that's been keeping us up at night, because your mom would have to get up and go to the bathroom a lot,
Sure.
or have to walk around. And Grayson, it was the most amazing, beautiful thing is she immediately turned her head to look at me with those big brown eyes that she has. And then I remember looking into her eyes. And then yesterday we had our little quick meeting and everything.
Sure.
And she looked at me. She cut her eyes and everything. And it was like
nothing had changed.
Yeah, 29 years ago.
Yeah.
It was just a really astounding moment yesterday, even.
Just to even feel like that and to recognize.
And with you being born, it was really something, because you are very impatient, and your mom and I only had about 3 hours notice that you were going to arrive that day. The doctor said, we're taking him out today. He's ready. He's coming out. And I remember in the back of my mind, I really might ought to pay that electricity bill. But I was, we're rushing, getting our go bag together and all that. And then when we brought you home in December, and it gets dark early. And I thought, that house sure seems kind of dark. And the electricity had been turned off.
When I came home from the hospital. Mm-hmm. Wow. So what did we do?
Well, I got on the phone. I got on the phone real quick and told him. And money was just so tight that I had to keep it in the bank as long as I could.
Yeah.
And I knew I should have paid it. And I explained. They said, well, the truck is actually in the area. We'll send him right back. So like 30 minutes later. But we took you home to a house with no electricity. And, it's demoralizing. And it took me quite a while to be able to tell the story. But I'm victorious in that story.
Yeah, I would say things have changed.
Things have changed, but lessons were learned, right?
Right.
So those were two pretty amazing days. You being awfully impatient to get here at 5 pounds, and your sister who could have just
chilled,
taken her own sweet time. Yeah.
So if you had to sing a song or hear a song for the rest of your life, what would that song be?
Probably
not the Ring of Fire, right?
No. Probably I Will Survive.
I Will Survive.
Yep.
The iconic classic #1 charting song.
Because we're all going to survive.
We're going to get through it.
We're going to get through it. And I think you just have to be diligent, know when to put your head down, and know when to lift your head up, and just knock it out.
Knock it out.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't, I'm kind of dipping into your hobbies. I remember growing up, we would always go, or not always, but we would go to the dealership and just check out cars. You're like, hey, I want to spend some time with you, right? Quality time.
That's
I just want to, mano y mano. And we would go to the dealership and we'd go on Sundays because Grayson's not going to bother us because I don't even want to buy nothing. I just want to look at it.
I just want to look without being bothered.
Yeah. Have you always had an affinity for cars? I know Granddad used to work on cars and things like that. Where does that come from?
I think it's just, I've always been kind of fascinated. Just the whole mechanics of them. I'm not a mechanic, but I just think that, just how it all works. I mean, I've owned cars that I never even opened the hood on them.
Sure.
But I don't know, just paint colors and interiors and how they ride or how they don't ride.
Right.
And if the roof goes back, how does it, all that.
Yeah.
Just fascinating to me.
So we're talking about cars. Can we talk about who Maybell is?
Yes.
And what this whole car has a name and all that. And it was what I've heard was pretty solid. And I wanted you to touch on a specific story. You can tell us what Maybell is, but did your friend have a other car that was like that car?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh yeah. So we worked together at Hardee's. I bet you talked to Fred Boland, hadn't you? I figured you did. So it was the craziest thing. So Ken was his name. So Ken, Maybell was old. She was, I mean, poor thing.
But
she was loaded with all the goodies. Okay.
Yeah, swivel seats.
I didn't even know they did
windows.
Electric windows, had a moonroof. Loaded up with all the goodies. Cruise control. I mean, that's back when that was a new thing. So Ken had a very basic car. It ran better than mine, newer than mine, but it didn't have all the bells and whistles. Now, I'm not saying all my bells and whistles worked all at the same time, but it had all those bells and whistles, right?
Right.
And I took him, he was like, but my car is this. I said, oh, but what about swivel bucket seats? No, you don't have that. What about electric? No, you don't have that. And I just busted him down right on the, oh my gosh, those were just, but you know what, Grayson? We'd close the restaurant, we'd clean the restaurant. It was like 1:00 on a Saturday morning, not getting into any trouble, just sitting in the parking lot at my high school job.
Yeah.
With my friends.
Yeah.
But just, busting each other's chops over stuff.
Oh, all the time. And taking it one step further, he actually did have something on his car that you didn't have, which was a light to see.
Oh, the engine. Oh, yeah. This was a new feature, newer than Maybell's feature. So he said, but watch this. And he popped the hood release and lifted it up and a light came on.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you got to know how to fix this old broke down car, so that's good.
He says, oh, I don't plan on fixing mine in the dark.
It was really, those were some really developmental times, just really good stuff.
Yeah.
Honest, good stuff.
Yeah. Just honest, good fun. Just not really a worry in the world, just kind of just cutting up.
Yeah. And somebody had kept the Boone's Farm, wine cooler or whatever it was. Boone's Farm.
Yes.
They, kept it nice and cold while we were working.
Yeah. Oh man. And there was you had a teacher who, going back to pencil, paper, ruler check. Mm-hmm. What did you do during that to maybe kind of beat the system in a way that if you forgot it, you kind of always had it?
Oh yeah. So those old metal desks had a little lip under them, and I would always keep a pencil, a pen, and a ruler because you had assigned seating in Miss McGraw's class.
Right.
So I always kept my pencil, pen, ruler so I could guarantee my point every day. Could you get 5 points a week?
And that added to your total test?
Yeah, so then somehow it went on. Yeah, so you could actually move, if you had a B, you could get an A in there. If you had all your pencil, pen, ruler checks.
Did you ever forget or?
Never.
Never.
I always kept a few to sell. Like if somebody needed a pencil, that was a quarter. There's always an opportunity, right?
No, definitely. Even when I'm growing up as a kid and, lighting my sister's mattress on fire and you pulling that box out and engulfing in flames, you running with the box through the house. And we were going to go eat Chinese food. We would have came back to
a house on fire.
Nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, you never really lit anything on fire other than maybe a cigarette early in your days, right? So
yeah, no pyromania or anything like that.
Yeah. I want to talk transition into creative and kind of where we are now, leading the venture in software and technology and development. I want to make sure I ask this question right. When you're innovating a company that's a leader in the software, AI, and technology, what are some barriers that you're faced with leading this fight as to too many softwares or so many softwares at once to get bogged down operations? How do we combat that?
Well, that is a good question, and it is because it's like drinking from a fire hose, right?
Yeah, trying to learn this.
You have to make sure, and that's the reason why I think you were on with a call with us yesterday, with that respiratory group. You have to make sure that there's a rollout plan, and then what is plan B to the rollout, and that's the reason why Chuck Moody was in the meeting, and he said, "No, we'll do a train the trainer."
And Chuck is
our senior vice president of clinical services.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he's right. Let our people master it, understand it, then they train our facility staff. What that does is that keeps management engaged in the software. It's the way we do it here with our integrated accounting software. That's the way we do it. We have our own, point and click care trainer that works for the company. Our data IQ components, all of those, our core care components, all of those components that are vital to our business success throughout the system, the management system has to have a working knowledge of it. And then on the flip side of that, we always have a back page that shows what the utilization is. So we can look in anybody that's assigned a user, we can see how often they've signed on and how long they were signed on. So you don't get to just click on it and get out of it and say, oh, that way you check your box from a compliance standpoint. We actually have the component to see how long they have been on there. And what it maps it. You see where they clicked,
right?
Because you want to make sure they're using the software to the full advantage, to the full capabilities of the software. Because if you've got software that can provide 100% of something and you're only utilizing 30% of it, but you're paying for 100% of that license agreement, you're not doing right by that. So it's important that it's understood from the top to the bottom and how significant it is to our company's success.
What makes what makes you say yes, I think this product can help the company, and what kind of pushes you away when evaluating maybe a data company, maybe an analytics company that maybe can throw something off or maybe not meet your vision that you have for the company?
Wow, that's another good question. So, you have to vet these companies, right? Because everybody's got something to sell. It's either a load of BS or it has some real utility to it.
Sure.
And we asked them, well, how would we apply this to this problem? And the other thing that we are very aggressive on, even within our own AI department here at Creative, is we ask all of our vendors, how will you be utilizing AI to serve us better this year and next year? And if you get that blank stare, they're not for you. Because anyone selling to us should have vetted us out as a high user of technology and solutions. So don't come to us with anything less than a stellar product. And it's that may sound a little braggadocious or arrogant, but our residents deserve us to vet vendors that are going to impact their lives either directly or indirectly. That's the reason why, as a family, we eat some of every menu item that's on our menu. You've done them.
Yep.
I've done them. Emily's done them. Your mom's done the cuttings and the tastings. It's important that our family approves that. It's equally important that our family approves all our software that we use and understand the utility of it in the facilities and can demonstrate how it's going to save time and be more efficient and be more accurate. We want to be accurate. You don't have to apologize for accuracy,
Right.
just like you don't have to apologize for quality.
Absolutely. And you said you don't have to apologize for quality. And I want to bring up a quote. You said there's no sweet spot for us. You say some companies say we're going to get to 20 or 30 buildings. Well, you say that, and then you get there and you can do more. Mm-hmm. Some people set a cap on revenue saying if I get to this certain point, well, then once I get there, I'll just stop. We're not going to attach ourselves to a number like that. And you never have to apologize for high quality. Can you expel on that?
Sure. People always, and the older I get, son, and I do enough interviews around the country that they want to know what my end game is. So what's your magic number, Mr. Blake? What's your revenue number? And I just say, I do not know. The mission of our company and where our company is, as long as we can continue to bring value to our residents and our employees and bring innovation and benefits and change the communities for the better, we're in this game. And the day that we no longer bring value to our industry and our residents and our staff, then we'll exit. But every year we get better. And that's not by chance. It's done by purpose and being very deliberate in how we execute. So we're nowhere near finished growing. We have the next generation. We have you and Emily coming up. We have young management that is aggressive to learn and to grow. And the greatest compliment to me is to be able to step aside and let others take the lead on certain things. I still am the president and CEO of the company, and I don't take that lightly. It's been a true honor of my life. But one of the smartest things I've done is I've hired far smarter people than myself and allowed them to do their job. And then you get to see them develop to their max potential. I never want to be somebody that said, boy, he never let me grow. He never shared that information with me. He created these silos. No, I want you to know everything I know, and I want you to be able to execute faster and show me up, with your tenaciousness and all those things.
Absolutely. And your in-house seems like to be a common terminology. In-house and 3 deep seem to be a common buzzwords around not only in the C-suite, but everywhere in the facilities. What's why in-house? Why not contract out? There's plenty of agency programs. There's plenty of people who, have proven products. Why do you think that you can, do it in-house and do it better?
Because we can, and I can elaborate shortly on that. There's some companies that contract out housekeeping, dietary, and laundry.
Right.
So you're leaving your facility cleanliness up to another company. You're leaving the quality of your food up to another company. You're leaving your laundry that your residents are spending, 16, 18 hours a day on up to another company. No, that doesn't work for our culture. There's nothing wrong with it if that's what, those companies that do that.
Sure.
Same thing with rehab. We went in-house with rehab early, years and years ago. It's because we can do it. We can do it better. And we've proven that. And we can spend those resources that it would have gone for those other companies' bottom line. We can improve the lives of our employees with better benefit programs, tuition reimbursement, and just other incentives.
Absolutely. with this comes great responsibility, growing to the size that it is now. But you got involved early into politics, senators, congressmen, governors, and things of that nature. Rick Perry, when he was governor of Texas, you made sure that your voice was heard and that the residents, needs and concerns were met. What kind of pushed you to that? What got you to the point of saying, "Man, if I stand by any longer, I'm just as guilty, if I don't"?
Yeah. So as a company started to grow, you have a moral obligation, I believe. It's not written anywhere. It's the way my moral compass is. You have an obligation to be the voice of those that can no longer speak. So you don't have to agree with the politicians' politics, but if they are in power, you should empower yourself enough to interject yourself into their and communicate very, very clearly what the needs are for your industry. That has proven well. It's proven well as we develop relationships with governors, senators, and congressmen on the national and the state level. It's the right thing to do. So over 11,000 residents trust us to take care of them. I need to take it all the way to Washington, D.C. if I have to, and I do. I have to take it all the way to Austin, Texas for their benefit. The last thing I want to do is go wear uncomfortable shoes all day and pound the pavement at the nation's capital or in our state capital, but it's necessary. And if I'm tapped and chosen, I need to represent for our people.
Why do you feel it's important that you do this, other than the moral obligation? Is there barriers that you face that voicing it and getting it in front of the right people may create change? Obviously, you meet with these people not because you like the way things are going, but maybe you see a positive or maybe an underlying tone of why do things work this way and how can we change it? Has there been any accomplishments that have come out of your constant visits, right? You at least want somewhat of an ROI, with all the time that you're delegating up there, because at the end of the day, if you're not, working here in the office, you're off somewhere, using your time elsewhere. Where have you found that time most useful? Kind of where have we seen some early wins?
Sure. So, Texas had for years gone without any type of rate increase. So several operators in Texas, I think there's like 20 of us, formed a coalition to really, study the rates and how we could lobby for increased in rates. And so that's the last two legislative sessions have been wins for us. And it takes everybody. It takes the smallest single operator with one nursing home, like with the way we started, all the way up to the larger operators. It takes us all. And here's not the only advice I'll give, but from a political standpoint, when you're trying to get your message very clear, but have one message with many voices. So the more people that are taking the same message repetitively over and over to the governor's office, lieutenant governor's office, the House members, the state reps, the congressmen, the senators, the more they see it. Because they're not in the industry, so they have to hear it repetitively.
Okay.
So have a very clear message, one message with many voices.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that begs the question. There's multiple industries that you maybe could have gone into. Why did you decide to go to this industry? There was why?
Well, I took a test in college because your mom said, "What are you going to do when you graduate in a couple of months or 6 months?"
And we're going to talk about that too,
Okay.
graduating, because it was nothing of not traditional graduation, but talk about go.
So I took a test, and I remember I went for the orientation to the test, and it was the next day. And the instructor said, "You have to be your most honest, most transparent when you're answering the questions. Don't try to answer the questions. There are no right or wrong answers. It's only one of the few tests in life that there's no right or wrong answers. Every answer you give is impactful." I thought, okay. And then they gave advice like, eat a protein, eat a low carb,
Sure.
get, caffeined up. And the test was about 4 hours. And it said that I would, because it was all Scantron back then. You had a pencil
Yeah.
and you had to color in the, A, B, or C.
Tedious a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, there's no clicking at that point. So it said that I would have a great career opportunity in the death care business, the funeral home business.
Sure.
And I would have an above average career in the long-term care industry. And I thought, well, I don't think I'm really suited for funerals.
Sure.
But I think I could probably do the nursing home. And I went for an interview in Weatherford, Texas, and my preceptor was Alvin Maddox. Just a super neat guy and let me learn and just good stuff.
So he was your preceptor so you could get all your hours
Yes.
and things of that nature.
Yes.
And this is before Beverly Enterprises?
No, that was Beverly Enterprises.
This was Beverly Enterprises.
It was one of their facilities, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's talk college because maybe nobody knows this story or only some know this story. Something with approval with the dean, so many hours. This is your shot. What does that look like? How do you get there? Your kind of hands are tied because you got to get done.
I got to get finished. It was amazing. That's when you could get to know the deans of the School of Business. And you would go and get an override to go over 18 hours.
Per semester?
Per semester. So if you could do it and
live,
then the next semester you could ask for a double override that would let you take even more hours. So some semesters you could crank out 24 hours.
Did you ever do that?
I did double overrides 2 semesters and an override 1 semester.
So how fast did you finish college?
In 2 years and 9 months.
4-year degree?
Mm-hmm. But I never stopped going. It went summer classes, mini masters. I took courses during the Christmas breaks.
Yeah.
But you do it when if that's your job, you do it.
Absolutely. And you did it at Tarleton?
I did. Stephenville, Texas.
Is there any other, I went to Tarleton. Did anybody else in the family go to Tarleton or was that just kind of, I'm living in Brownwood, so knock out Stephenville?
Right. I couldn't afford Howard Payne because it was, private university and it was just too expensive. Great school. I did take one math course there, I think. Mm-hmm. One of those mini masters during Christmas. But yeah, and it was an hour away and I could drive and knock it out. And your mom was always so encouraging to me. I never had her like in my ear saying, you need to be home. You need to.
Right.
You need to.
She knew your mission.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there were times, you'd be at the library back when, get till 9 o'clock at night and then have an hour drive.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
You're getting home late.
Yeah, getting home late. But it was my job.
And you had some tutors, right? You weren't just the most proficient ever. Like you didn't just. It wasn't
tutors.
Easy for you.
No,
you had to try. You had to study. What's some of the tutors that you had? Because I know family helped you.
Yeah, Roger Blake just was so super smart and could break it down and make someone like me understand it. But you have to know that's a lot of hours you're taking, right? So you go from a biology course to math to. It was just a lot of moving parts. So that was very helpful.
Yeah.
And Beverly helped me.
What did Beverly help you do?
In English and writing papers. Kathy Blake, my stepmom, helped. Your mom was helpful. Her memory is just really phenomenal. Recall. So, yeah, back when you had to do your own flashcards and everything.
Yeah, so there's actually a picture, and I'll bring it up on the screen, of these flashcards everywhere, like in the living room. Whose living room was that?
That was our home in Brownwood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were actually, before the cameras come on, you were talking about that home in Brownwood.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you wanted to share it, but you were able to get the home. And how long were you in there?
Oh, we lived there for several years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, all through college.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say several years, probably 5 years before we moved.
To Fort Worth.
Uh-huh.
Why Fort Worth?
Well, because I got a job in Weatherford.
That helps.
And your mom also got a job in Weatherford, but we didn't want to live in Weatherford. We were young and no children at the time, and Fort Worth was a big city for us.
It is.
So it was
no brainer
for us.
Gotcha. And what did Malisa? What is mom's role kind of in all of this with you? Absolutely, just so locked into school, and then right after school, I mean, what did you do after school, and how did that dynamic work, and how did that propel you to kind of just keep going?
Well, she's always been my biggest fan and cheerleader and motivator. So, did my AIT in Weatherford, and then got licensed, and became the administrator of my first facility, and it kind of a blur. I still remember so many of the patients and the employees and people that were really, just really instrumental in my development, in my career.
It makes you think about all of the decisions that lead to getting to this point where you're entrusted with over 11,000 plus lives, and then you have your staff and everything like that. If they were watching this,
Mm-hmm.
what's something that you would want them to know on a resident, like if you were talking to a resident, a group of residents, or a group of family members that choose our family to because there's other options out there.
Sure.
We'd be remiss not to think that. So what would be a message to them, just generally, or a thank you or welcome or
Sure.
anything? So
to those family members that have been with us, and those that we haven't even met yet, our family's committed to you. Our family is committed to you. Our family is committed to your loved one. And the trust that you put in us, in our ability to hire the right staff to care for your loved one, is not taken lightly. We consider it our highest honor to care for your loved ones. And while it's not their home, we will do everything possible to make our facilities home-like and loving and nurturing. And but certainly appreciate their trust.
Do you think growing up and instilling such a work ethic, but not even that, but are there things that you grab from your childhood that you insert into the business?
Every day.
And why, when they're asking you, what's the end goal for Gary, and why not get out?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's your response to that?
I am not ready.
Yeah.
And I will let everybody know when I am, but
Yeah.
do not hold your breath.
You're right. I wanted to show you, we're wrapping up here.
Okay.
I wanted to show you some pictures, and maybe you can just kind of say, well, what does that look like? Or just kind of describe it.
Sure.
Okay, so we're going with the bottom picture here, and it'll pop up on the screen for the viewer. Yes, so if you talk about that, they'll be able to see it. So if you say top left, they know what you're talking about. You say bottom right.
The top left is my mother, Angela, and then and she has passed. And then the lady next to her is my aunt Anna. Sorry, it went.
Sorry.
Yep.
It died. Here, can you give me my phone, guys?
And then I know
I gave
who's
it
all
to
in
him.
the picture. And then next to her
Gave
is
it to you.
my grandmother,
I got it.
Adoma, Granny Dodo. That's her husband, Nathy. And my other aunts, Gussie and Amy and Amber, and just always delightful. My grandmother, my Granny Dodo's the older lady in the middle.
Yeah. It seems like a rush of emotions to see all those people kind of
is.
gathered there.
Yeah, but I remember everything about that.
Yeah. You said something on Facebook where you could see her hands.
I can't. Yeah,
Why does that stick out to you?
she had beautiful hands, and she did what she loved because her hands never showed it. I mean, she worked, she cooked, she cleaned, she did all these things, and her hands were still beautiful. And I thought that's when her work helped make her.
Right. Yeah, and those hands created, some of the greatest dishes
That's
that you
right.
like now. And what did she make that was really, something that you're like, oh, I hope she's making this when we get home?
Oh my gosh, really anything. Like so many grandmothers, anything Granny made was just phenomenal. I mean, truly. She used to do these hamburger steaks with this gravy and onions, and oh my God, it was just amazing food.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up another
Okay.
photo. I'm going to grab from it.
Okay.
So I'll actually bring this up. So you're actually really good friends with Nikki Haley.
Yes.
And she actually, whenever maybe it was on River Run that she came up, or were we here when she came up for the first time to the offices, and then y'all went to Dell's?
That was over at River Run, I believe.
Yeah, for the first time.
For the first time,
For
yes.
the first time.
Yep.
Kind of what's, I mean, we don't have to go into the polarizing politics of it, but more of a human-to-human interaction with somebody. Why were you drawn to her? What kind of set the tone for you, saying, well, I met her here, and I got to see her again?
Well, so it's a crazy story. So we were at the Mellon Center, or Carnegie Center.
Carnegie Hall?
They have a hall there next to that. So we were
Got it.
at an event in New York, and I had read her first book, and I thought I could be friends with this person. And I sought out one of her people, Marissa, and who is a lifelong friend, just like the Haleys are. And I said, your boss needs to meet me. Your boss will absolutely love me. And she said, well, you want to do coffee with her tomorrow? And I said, well, absolutely. So we did coffee the next day. And Nikki Haley is the same person in meetings, on stage, in person. She is the same person. During COVID, she called me. She helped me with how to manage the press. And we had long conversations during COVID about, I say
Negative press surrounding.
Yeah, because, we were, it was all our fault, in long-term care, right? And she gave me just great advice. And then when she went and was ambassador at the UN, I went to see her and had a great meeting there at the UN, and got to tour her offices. And I just have all the respect in the world for her. But the common thing is she respects elderly. And the story she has, because she never got to know her grandparents because they were in India, and her parents.
Understood, yeah. And they were one of the first Indians living in that neighborhood.
In South Carolina, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, her father was an educator. So
Right.
all of those things, and we're just great friends to this day.
Yeah.
But it's important to know people like that.
No, and definitely, and there's kind of, why don't you, like, everybody has their own opinion of somebody. Why don't you go find out for yourself?
That's
And I feel
exactly
like
right.
that's exactly what you've done, not only with Republicans, but Democrats
Oh, my
and
gosh,
everywhere. It's a bipartisan issues. And like you said, it doesn't matter who's there. I guess my problems still persist no matter who
Who's
is
in
elected.
office? So I got to get to know him.
I got to get to know 'em.
Yep.
So, and I think you've taken that a step further, and that's why you've always been a very people person, people forward, able to, work with people from all different backgrounds and getting them to, jump on board and drink the Kool-Aid.
That's right.
I wanted to make sure that you touched on, and we'll be done shortly. I don't want to feel like I'm belaboring it.
Oh, no.
What are green plums in Alabama?
That's like Southern delicacy right there, Grayson.
With salt?
Salt, always got to have salt.
It's got a bite.
It's got a bite.
Yeah.
And it's delicious. And you just have to have a green summer plum with salt. It really, our whole life as a child revolved. You knew school would be out soon because the plums were in.
Yeah, they're actually, starting to actually.
Yeah.
Right now it would be the season.
Now it's the time. I'm sure at local produce stands in the South, there's those big warm, because they're warm. They've just been picked that morning, right?
Yeah.
And they're just phenomenal. It's just a rite of passage in the South.
Yeah. Did Amy used to send them to us?
Amy would send them to us. Yes, I would send her big hunks, the candy bars.
Yeah.
She loved those. So I would send her those. And a few days later, or vice versa, there'd be a package of green plums for you and I and Emily.
No, I do just remember them being so good and just so tart. I do want to shout out the sponsorship from Rambler. I want to get into their wild cherry flavor.
Ooh.
Never seen wild cherry in the wild
either.
before. So this is a brand out of Austin, Texas.
Oh, cool.
And it's a mineral water, and they don't strip anything away. Like Topo Chico, they kind of take everything out and put what they want. They're kind of very they partnered with the national parks here in Texas. And so let's go ahead and give her a try.
Oh, yeah, can
All
we?
right. So,
Ooh, I can smell that already. Oh, that's good now.
yeah, that's not too bad.
No, that's like better than good.
Yeah, no, I how the story happens was I told him, I was like, I know Topo Chico won't respond to me because they got bigger fish to fry. So maybe Rambler will do it. And they called me to their offices. And they're just like, yeah, just come by and pick up a couple cases.
That's really good.
Yeah. No, I love them. And they ship me pallets of it. So you can have as much as you want. You can have these cases right here.
That's really good.
Oh, man. And their grapefruit is really good.
Oh, no, I'm
their
gonna
cranberry is
remember, I know you don't probably remember it. There used to be Fresca.
Oh, yeah.
Do they still make Fresca?
Yeah, they make Fresca. It's rebranded.
Okay. But, that's a calorie-free grapefruit, but I'd love to try theirs.
Oh man, their lime and everything, lots of different flavors, and then they have stuff for the holiday season and everything like that.
You got to love that entrepreneur spirit in Texas. I mean, there's Tito's, there's Rambler, we've got
La
good,
Beluga.
yes,
Yeah.
We've got great entrepreneurs in this state.
No, absolutely is. And maybe something somebody doesn't know about you that I know is that if you had to pick any place in Texas to live, obviously Fort Worth, because that's where our headquarters are. That's where everybody's from. We're 10 minutes away from the hospital that we're recording in right now. But El Paso, why is El Paso such a kind of a tug of the string? And almost like if you talk about El Paso, you might as well talk about Gary because he's going to want to talk about it.
It is the craziest thing. So, and I know that's not the best descriptive word, but the first facilities that we bought in bankruptcy as a company, there were two out there. And we put our blood, sweat, and tears in everybody in the company because the company was small. And the staff responded so well, and the residents responded so well. And we're, Anglos, we're,
Yeah.
I don't speak Spanish, and
Right.
or
Not
the
going to act
words
like it either.
Well, the words I do know I can't use. So, but and then the third building came available, and then the fourth, and the fifth, and now we operate 9 properties in El Paso. The culture is right. The climate is right. I'm drawn to that. There's a lot of sunshine. It's kind of like the Palm Springs of Texas, but the food is good. It's just great people there.
Yeah.
Just really great people, and our management team and the staff there are just really. They're just really delightful.
Yeah. No, I whenever I'm visiting down there, it really does feel like, such a family. And they're always saying El Paso is like your second home. You're always welcome here.
And they mean that.
No, exactly. And I think the culture that, we're trying to build with a company that's growing so fast, it's kind of hard to maybe put your print on it like when you had, one building.
Right.
So how have you combated culture change, culture shifts? Hey, you may have done it this way over here, but you're not there anymore. You're here now, and this is the way we do it, and this is why we do it.
So, that's a good question. I think one of the things, and you're part of these monthly calls, is our monthly revolution call, where we have every facility, every department head on a big Teams call. And what is there, about 1,400 people on that call?
It's more than that. It's the biggest Teams call I've ever been a part of.
And I get the priorities for the month from each of the vice presidents.
And do people send in questions?
They do send in questions. And then we have a response mechanism.
But you're answering those questions in real time from the employees.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Some of them, the ones I can, I do. And then sometimes we need to research it, or somebody's got an idea, or it's one of those. Sometimes some of the questions are they get a little wompy, and they're so long that that's not the best utilization of people's time. So we've got a system now that, emails everybody back a response.
Yeah.
But it lets me have virtual face-to-face time with every department head in the company. And there's 160 activity directors, and there's 160 administrators and DONs and our directors of nurses and dietary staff. And it's my way of leadership. Now, does that work for everybody in every company? Absolutely not. I don't want it to work for everybody. It's only important that it work for Creative Solutions in healthcare. But I want them to know we're going to have a monthly call every month. We're going to talk about things that are important. We're going to talk about how they move the dial. We're going to talk about leadership. And it's not, it's an hour at best. But can you just imagine an hour times 1,600 people?
And what kind of like showing the urgency of it.
But what we get, and I'll just use the number 1,600. We get 1,600 people that are in leadership throughout our system driving the same message. And they get to cross-correct each other if somebody's telling somebody, no, that's not what Gary said. Gary said this. So your message is far more clear. And then nobody is gatekeeping information because all the department heads are on the call.
It really is hard to gatekeep information when you have such data to analyze.
That's exactly right.
I can't really hide from it anymore. We talked about this morning. You're waiting for those financials to come out because that was your scorecard back.
That's exactly
when you were an
right,
administrator. Son. And, now you're able to see your building in real time. You're able to use Data IQ. You're able to use
Cover and
all of the softwares that we have now. So not only are we seeing in real times, but we can see when we move the dial because our, data is just going to change it.
Well, we know where to deploy corporate assets, right? So if we've got a problem that's bubbled up in the last 3 or 4 days, in East Texas, then we shift our resources to East Texas. So as long as we stay agile in the corporate office, we can affect change rather quickly before it gets out of hand or it becomes a real problem or a trend. And the last thing you want is a problem to become a trend that then becomes an acceptable trend. That's when you've got a disaster waiting.
Can you give me an example when you saw a trend kind of trending in the bad direction and one decision just flipped it?
Well, Grayson, that'd probably have to be COVID.
Because I don't want to interrupt, but during COVID, it seems like we burned down our hiring program. We burned it down to the ground and rebuilt it. We had to restructure. We had to hire differently. I remember you talking specifically saying, we got to hire strong, extraordinary people, but we got to make sure that we're asking the right questions.
Yeah.
We're talking to the right people. Is this a referral or is this some guy who submitted his application 13,000 different times to 900 different companies?
Yeah, you're exactly. This is where I was going. So during COVID is where we talked about this is not an ordinary time. This is a time for extraordinary people. And then we've parlayed that into we don't want to hire ordinary. We want to hire extraordinary. And then you start looking at what are your barriers. Is it your orientation program? Is it your hiring practices? Is it a person that doesn't understand our recruiting software?
Right.
And you start drilling it down and you ask the same question 5 different ways until you get the problem resolved. And you have to be willing to take the results of your inquiries and you ask the question. You may have to do some things from a corporate level. You may have to change things from a regional level or a facility level.
Where as this company grows and you're empowering people to make the right ethical decision and you try to do as much vetting as possible, what's one thing that you tell employees who are coming on board, who want to work for creative, or maybe want to look at the healthcare industry and say, maybe I do fit in here. Maybe I do align with Gary's vision, Creative's visions, all the people who sing the same tune.
Yep.
What would you say to them, people who are coming on currently, people who want to come on board? Because I think we're always looking for extraordinary people, and maybe when they see this, they'll be like, okay, maybe I need to look at this one more time.
We want the experience that each and every staff member has. We want it to be a standout in their career. They may not have started their career with us. They may not end their career with us. But the interim time of their career, we want it to be dynamic. We want it to be interactive. We want them to feel loved and appreciated and respected. And they may transfer to another town. Life may take them in a totally different direction. We may have been kind of a stopover in their career, which is perfectly fine. We just want it to be the best years of their career. So if they're with us for 3 years, I want them to be able to say, those were the best 3 years of my 10-year career in healthcare or whatever. And then you do a lot of soul searching to make sure that you keep things fresh and you keep things interesting for them, and that they have a way to be heard. That they have a way to be heard, and that you have to reciprocate, that you have to let them know you've heard them. Not just it go into an empty voicemail or an empty email. Somebody get back with them.
Absolutely. I do want to wrap up with this because if you go on your Facebook, it's pretty clear about what you like and what you want to see. So I'm going to read from my phone here as I try not to do that. You post a lot on Facebook, and a majority of creative solutions, maybe about 50% of what you post is about the food quality.
Yes.
Facilities always brag about having a great Sunday lunch, you said, but if they pass away on a Wednesday, that'll be the last food they have, and I want it to be best as possible. Maybe if you want to rephrase that, possibly even re-say that quote to clean it up. That is something that has stuck with me since I was a little boy, even in tour. And I use this point when I'm making tours in the facility, and every time it makes a huge impact.
It does. Everybody has to be proud of something. And you need to make sure that every department has pride points: housekeeping, dietary, laundry, nursing, environmental, maintenance, social services, activities, business office. Give those departments something to celebrate, and then give them permission to celebrate it. And we use food as an example because it's something that everybody has to do, is everybody has to eat.
Sure.
And we want to make sure that all of our meals are designed, not that Sunday lunch is what everybody in the facility is waiting for. We want them to be waiting on the next meal because they know the next one is going to be delicious.
Tuesday lunch.
Yeah, Tuesday lunch, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, whatever it is. Make your priorities known and don't change the priorities. Don't have kind of a priority du jour. You want them to know it instinctively, that food is important, that cleanliness is important, that quality care, customer service, all of those things are worth putting in the parade.
No, absolutely. Hey, Nick, if you could bring over, I want the audience to be able to see the drywall, and I'll pull up the Bible verse, but I'm going to let Dad give me kind of what's going through your mind, because this was installed, 2005.
Yeah.
And you sent it to me as well. Do you let me?
Yeah. What do you want me to?
I'm gonna say the verse.
Okay.
And then you can pivot.
Okay.
Okay. So this is Proverbs 3:21 through 23. My son, do not let wisdom and understanding out of your sight. Preserve sound judgment and discretion. They will be life for you, an ornament to grace your neck. Then you will go on your way in safety, and your foot will not stumble. Wow.
I remember writing that. So we were building the house at Mira Vista, and you and Emily were very young. You were taking hammers and hitting rocks, and I don't know, maybe broke a couple of windows. Yeah, and all that kind of craziness. But we wanted to make sure that as a Christian family, that you would go to sleep at night and know that there was scripture in and around you all the time. It's one thing to have a Bible by your bed. It's another thing to know the Bible when you're in bed. And your mom and I just wanted to make sure that you and Emily and all throughout our house, even though it would be covered up,
Sure.
That someday someone would, remodel the house or tear down the house, and they would see that. And then your mom, recent remodel on the house,
Sure.
had the sheetrock removed.
And voila.
And lo and behold, look at what I had written for you.
Yeah. And I would be around 8 years old at that point. And through life's trial, tribulations, boarding school, Ole Miss, college, Tarleton,
Life.
2020, delivering PPE, all of that. And even, did you know that that's where my mirror was going to go?
I did not.
Huh. Because, I spent a lot of time in front of that, mirror, practicing for plays or speeches or, just trying to pull myself, little Grayson together, right?
Yeah.
As, that's where, I spent most of my life, but I felt like I had to bring that, and we're gonna frame it, and we'll put some preservative over there. It's crazy how long it's lasted this long.
It's I know that because I had to write in a pencil, and pencils fade, so maybe it can be varnished or shellacked or something.
Oh yeah,
but boy, those words are true, aren't they?
No, they really couldn't be more than true. So you are here on NIL podcast with name, image, likeness, and you got college sports. You like sports, but you're not in love with them,
right?
But you're from Alabama, and your whole family was Alabama Crimson Tide, Roll Tide, and you were an Auburn fan.
Yep.
What made you an Auburn fan? Maybe it was just like, I just don't want to root for a team y'all are rooting for, or what was it?
I don't know. I think I like the
burnt orange.
Burnt orange. That's still but my aunt Amber was an Auburn fan. She and I went to some games, and maybe she had an extra ticket, and she drugged me along, and we just had an absolute blast. And so that was my first exposure. And then some of our dear friends, the Arbans, we went to church with that family. They were graduates of Auburn. So we would tailgate in Auburn, and he's deceased now, but the dad, Mike Arbin, was such a wonderful, wonderful man. And his mom, I can tell you right now what she made every tailgate. She made fried chicken, baked beans, and potato salad, and we would eat on it all day, and it was just amazing food, and just a sweet, dynamic family, and that made it worth being an Auburn fan for me.
Absolutely. Well, you have here my dad, Gary Blake, and I just can't thank you enough for coming on. We've got almost 30 plus episodes, so it will be in the 30s range when we release this.
It's an honor to be with you, Grayson.
Yeah, and it's crazy just to finally get this. Honestly, on camera, and possibly, I don't know my son or my daughter or my wife, I'll be able to reflect and be like, see, this is why I'm so crazy or whatever. Right?
Well, there's a lot of this, so this is in itself very much like your mom and I having coffee, talking about the careers we didn't know we would have, the children we didn't know we would have, and the lives we didn't know we would have. So it'll be a reflection point for you, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, so setting it in stone. This is your office.
It is.
This is, and I've been here for almost a year now. I moved my office in here.
Yes.
When I finished up with my AIT hours, and I came in here, and you said you're just gonna listen in, and you don't need to say anything. You just need to listen.
Yeah.
And I think it's just incredible, just this inflection point, not only in the company's history, but like being able to work like right next to your dad. Like I got to sit next to Gary in his office because I know, I mean, you trust me, which means the world to me. And so this is none like any other podcast. This is the best podcast ever.
Oh, Grayson, thank you so much. This has really been just really a lot of fun, and I was so nervous, and I don't want to disappoint you ever. But thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Awesome. Now It's Legal Podcast. Gary Blake and Grayson Blake. Thank you guys for watching.